Hello, guys. How are you doing? I hope you guys had a great weekend, and yesterday's assignment went smoothly. Should have. So today is a lesson that I would normally do in the classroom, anyways. But since we're not in the classroom, I try to see if I could find a video to share with you guys to explain like rhythms and how to read them and those sort of things. Because I want to be able to give you guys a rhythm to read with some notes and for you to be able to play it back for me. So I looked for like a cool video with like really neat visuals and music and all that, but like there was nothing, like nada. And it was very frustrating actually. All of them were pretty cheesy or like just not super informative. So today I'm going to just do it myself and explain it to you. And I think hopefully it'll be a little bit more clear that way. Okay, so let's start. So hopefully this is a review for most of you. And if not, you're learning something. And if it is, this is good stuff to go over anyways, because sometimes we forget some of these fundamental things. So, okay, first of all, I want to start off with our basic rhythm thing. So when we're reading rhythms, we're dealing with some basic note values. So how a note value is how long a note is. So a note value, for instance, if you guys are familiar with the different types of notes, I imagine if I said, hey, name one of the notes, your hands would go up and you guys would probably most likely say first, quarter note. That's generally, although some of you might have been thinking half note or something like that. Sorry. Okay, so quarter note. And so quarter note here, that's a quarter note. Now, some of you are like, that's not a quarter note. That's not how it's normally drawn. Well, the type of notation that I do that I'm sharing with you today is called shorthand, where I'll basically draw a quick little line here and a line down to make a note. So if I'm making eighth notes, which we'll get into more, I just make 4 dashes and then 4 lines and connect them. Okay, and that's a real quick, easy way for professional musicians to write out notation. So let's go back to our quarter note. So a quarter note is the one that we're the most familiar with typically. And whenever I ask, how many beats does a quarter note get? Most of the time, the answer I get is 1 beat. Okay? Now, it does not always get 1 beat. It depends on another variable here. And that variable is what? You know, if some of you might know this, that variable has to do with this thing. Okay, some of you have seen this. It looks like a fraction, but it's not. Okay, this is what we call a time signature. Okay, time signature. And this time signature gives us information about the notes that are put on the staff, the rhythmic notes that are put on the staff, not the names of the notes on the staff. So these two numbers both have a job that is done that we're going to go into as well. So for now, let's assume that we're in 4/4 time. So everything we're about ready to talk about applies to 4/4 time. So I'm going to erase this. All right. So quarter note equals 1 beat. So we have other types of notes as well. So let's just go ahead and diagram this out. The note that we deal the most with, as far as large notes are concerned, the note we deal the most with is quarter notes. But the largest note we typically deal with is this bad boy here. Okay. And that is what? It's a whole note. Okay, that's a whole note. And the whole note gets a certain amount of beats. In our measures in music, each measure, okay, we have all the measures divided up into boxes here. All right. Each measure in 4/4 time gets 4 beats. All right. So this note here, it's a whole note. It takes up a whole measure. And therefore when we play it, it sounds out for 4 beats. So if I was playing this, for instance, let me pull up a sound here. That'll work. So if I was playing a measure with these 2 notes in it, okay, 2 whole notes. Now, as you see, it's not on a regular staff. This is on a percussion staff. If I played these 2 notes in succession using a note, this is what it would sound like. I'll count it off. Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. rest. Okay, so now there's no rest in this measure, but that was 2 measures of 4/4 using whole notes. That's a very ominous sound, wasn't it? Okay, so these are 2 measures of whole notes. Now, we also have its counterpart over here, the rest. So we also have whole rests. A whole rest looks like this. Now, it goes below the line, okay? Beneath the line. I always like to be like, if there was a person walking, right? And they're walking along, minding their own business, right? And they're like I'm on my way to work. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, oh my gosh, why the humanity? Why is everything awful? And they fall into the hole, right, and they die. So that's how I remember a whole rest. Okay, now a half rest will be a little different, which we're going to go over in just a second. Okay, so I'm racing back. Goodbye, my friend. All right, so whole rest, whole note, 4 beats. Okay, 4 beats. Next, we have this guy, and that is a half note. All right, so half. I'm writing a little bit too big here. Okay, so half note is a little different than a whole. Sorry, half rest is a little different than a whole rest. It sits on top of the line, not beneath the line. So kind of like that. All right, and if I was going to play, some half notes, let's do this. Okay, and then we'll do 2. Let's make this a little more real. Let's do this instead. Kind of feel like Bob Ross painting here. Okay, and then let's do this. Okay, so say we have this now. So we have half note, half note, half note, half rest, half rest, half note. Okay, I'm going to count it off and play. We'll use our ominous note again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 1, 2, 3, 4, off. Okay, and so that is how you would play those measures using half notes. Now I'm going to slowly run out of room here in a minute, and that's going to be a problem. But for now, let's just keep on going along. Okay, next, our friend the quarter note. I'm going to write a little smaller now because I'm running out of room. I did not plan this well. Okay, and our friend the quarter rest. Now, our quarter rest, I sometimes draw like that. Sometimes I just draw kind of like a weird 3, okay, for shorthand. And again, quarter notes, just really quickly, we'll do 2 measures of it. 1, 2, rest, 3, 1, 2. We'll do a half note here. Okay, here we go. Again, 4/4 time, right? So we have quarter, quarter. I keep on dropping my paper towel that I'm using to erase. It's very annoying. Okay, and 2 quarter notes and a quarter note and a half note there at the end. So here we go. Ooh, sorry about that glare. That is bad. See if I can fix that. Oof. There we go. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 1, 2. Let me do it one more time. I messed up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's how you play that with the quarter notes. Now, next value, so we're going to keep on getting smaller here, is this. Okay, these are all examples of 1/8 notes. Okay, 1/8 note, and the rests look like that. Okay, so 1/8 notes, and I'm not going to draw them out at this point anymore, so just for the sake of time, there's your 1/8 note. Sorry about the glare there. The 1/8 notes, our 1/8 notes sound like this. So if quarter notes are going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, our 1/8 notes are going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I always like to demonstrate on drums. So for drums, our quarter notes in like a typical rock groove or boots and cats kind of rhythm that we like to use sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So when we add our eighth notes, which would be 1 and 2 and 3 and, it's hard to do with this mic. Here, let me sound like this. Right. It's a B-do-do-G-do-do-do-do. It's a Billie Jean line. So this is eighth notes, 2 and 3 and 4, quarter note. Okay, and that's how those subdivisions work. Moving on. Next we have these. 2 flags here. Make sure there's no glare. Okay. And then typically we group these in 4, so it's 1 beat. And those would be what? You could probably guess it by this point, 16th notes. Okay, 16th notes. The rest here, again, kind of looks like this weird 7, but it has a little extra like flag on it. And so that everybody goes, wow, that must be really fast. And my answer to that is, it depends on the tempo. If the tempo is really slow, it's not that fast. But if the tempo is moving pretty quick, then yeah, it is. So in this case, with our boots and cats, we have this, right? So this is our quarter note. That's our eighth note. Now, if I change these eighth notes to 16th notes, this is what it sounds like. So we have 16th notes. That was a lot harder than I thought it would be. All right, so we'd be looking at, I'm going to slow it down just a smidge. So it'd be, and that would be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and that's how we count those. Now, there's other rhythmic values as well that we don't need to really worry about, okay? The other rhythmic values are, like, to get smaller here, we could have, if you just use math, it would be 32nd notes, okay? You could get into 64th notes. You could get into, 128th, etc., blah, blah, blah. You could get really ridiculous with it, but they actually exist. This is honestly how it works. So, again, this is how we count notes in 4/4 time, or 2/4 time, or 3/4 time, or 6/4, or 5/4, or 7/4, or whatever 4 time we use. The reason for that is because the bottom number is a 4. That bottom number tells us that the quarter note gets the beat. Okay, so that means we're using the quarter note as our kind of basic variable for everything. So like that is our foundation. So it's 1, 2, 3. That's what's getting the beat. That's when we count the big numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that's how we know that in this case, this is how we use the notes. All right, so I just want to try to read through a couple things. If you can tap along with this and see if you get it right, I want you to do this to see how you're doing with these rhythms. They're not too hard. This is actually pretty easy stuff. All right, here we go. So let's do, we're going to stay with our rhythm clef. All right, so we're going to start with 4 quarter notes, and then half note, and then 2 quarter notes. Easy stuff, right? And then we're not going to use any rest right now. Let's do eighth notes. And actually, let's use 1 rest. We'll use a half rest. And then let's do, let's just for funsies get crazy here. Let's do some 16ths. And then, sorry, those are all 16th. Ooh, that looks like 32nd notes in the middle, my bad. This should be 16ths. And then 8th, and then let's do 2 quarters. Okay, so how did I come up with this? I make sure I only have 4 beats in each measure. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Half note is 1. This is 3, 4 because this gets 2 beats. And this is, if you remember, it's 1 and 2 and half note, 3, 4. This is 1 E and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, so I'm just giving you the counts. Now, oh, you can't see those last rhythms. My bad. All right. Ooh, those are kind of hard to see in general. All right, do the best you can. For some of you, this last measure might be a little advanced, and that's okay. Okay, so let's just go through. Here's the first measure. Ready? 1, 2. Just the first measure. Ready? And 2, 3, 4. Okay, easy. Let's do the second measure. Okay, remember we have hold this for 2 and then 3, 4. On the percussion that I'm using, it's just gonna be boom, 3, 4. Okay, so it's gonna be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, if we were using like a normal like sound, it would be like this: 2. Okay, that's our ominous sound. Let's go back to the drums though, because it's clearer. All right, so for this measure, we have 1 and 2 and. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then on this measure, we have 1 E and a 2 and 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, so let's try this whole thing, and then we're going to end this video. It's getting a little long. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. I'm gonna do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Good. Do it without me playing. I'm just gonna give you quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Well, that's it for today. This video has gone on long enough. All right, guys. Hope you're doing well. Talk to you soon.